Legends, in this episode of Rucking Good, I catch up with the inspiring founders of charity Spoke to a Bloke. Paul, Scott and Matt share with me the story behind their mental health movement, which was born out of tragedy when Matt lost his brother to suicide. Spoke to a Bloke has grown into a nationwide initiative that encourages men to open up about their mental health through the simple act of walking and talking, which is obviously a cause that I can get right behind. Hope you enjoyed this episode.
We've got a ruck vest, a rucksack. We've got the boys from Spoke to a Bloke.
We got the heavy ones.
Paul, Scott and Matt. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
I've got a bad memory for names, so that's really impressive.
Horrendous, Gary. No.
I reckon we go just do the pretty shit, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So we're at Balmoral Park in the affluent suburbs of northern Sydney. Is it northern Sydney?
Northern Beaches, yeah.
Oh, so this would be northern beaches.
Oh, this is North Sydney, and
This is kind of right where it crosses,
To be
right?
technical, it's
heading onto Mossman.
North Shore.
Mossman.
Yeah, right. Sort of close to the zoo. The zoo's near here
zoo's
somewhere, isn't it?
over that hill over there.
So do you guys live around here, or we just select this because this was part of the walk course?
It's part of the walk course. So we are all on the northern beaches, which is a bit further north, and then this is part of the walk. We actually cut across and go up. Where is it? Just over there, and then up over the hill.
I think I might. Oh, did I? This looks familiar. It is familiar. I walked here with Fred Hollow's walk from Manly to Sydney.
Yeah, that's going from Bondi to Manly.
I went the year that they did two lots. They did one from Bondi, one from Manly, and ended up in Sydney.
Yeah.
And I remember this was where the aid station was, and we sat there and had something to eat before walking up the big ass hill.
That's the
bloody long walk, right?
Yeah, it was called Fred's Harbour Hike or something. Right. I think the bloody long walk was a virtual one or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was called the Harbour Hike, because I actually registered to do it again this year, but the same weekend we just got invited to be at the Fitness Expo with Search for Hurt. And so I couldn't really pass that up, and it's on the same day as the Harbour Hike, so I'm not doing it this year.
Yeah.
But
they've actually got signed walk from Manly all the way to Bondi. So you can follow, I think there's got a little dolphin or a little fish on signs, and you can follow that.
And it's like 36 Ks or something, isn't it? I remember I was wrecked. That was the first thing I ever did. Like, I remember being 130 something kilos, sitting on the lounge, and my missus was watching like Golden Trail series and them running through the Alps and looking unreal. And I was like, oh, I can't run, but surely there's a cool walking event that I could train for to do. And that's how I found the Harbour Hike. And so I registered, but it was in like 3 weeks' time. And it was the night before Mother's Day, and I remember going, because I said to Emma, I'm like, oh, how far is it to your mum's house? And she looked, and it was 21 Ks, and I'm like, I'm going to walk. And so I hadn't walked out of sight forever. And the next day I put on like crappy shoes and I start walking, and I got all the way there from like Erina Heights to Budgie Boy, which was 21 Ks. But then I destroyed my feet so much that I couldn't walk for the next week and a half. And so most of my training went out the window. But so tell us, Spoke to a Bloke. Give us a rundown as to what it is that you guys do.
Who wants to take that?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, mate. Well, I can start it off with the origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started June 2021. My brother Nick took his life, and the reality is none of us had a clue about mental health or just how prevalent it was.
Yeah. And did you have an idea that he was sick? Like,
nah.
Oh, wow.
No.
It's actually really interesting because, we had a lot to do with each other. Like, he was the best mate of mine, and I remember meeting him a week before, and we're having lunch, and you kind of have an inkling that something's not right, but at that stage, I probably didn't know what to look for, and I didn't know how to have the conversation anyway.
Yeah.
Is the reality.
Yeah.
And looking back on that, it's it was really interesting, and in thinking back, and sad that we didn't have that conversation properly, really.
Yeah, and I've heard, I don't know, you guys have probably dove into this a little bit more, but after a friend of ours' sister committed suicide, but she came around to our friend's place that morning, and it was like she'd struggled with depression and but not to the point like she'd never tried anything like that before. Like she wasn't on alert or anything, but like they even had commented that she was so like, oh, how good a mood was, I can't remember what her name was, but Rebecca was the sister, but like they were really surprised at how it was the best that they'd seen her for ages. And then later, like it was like that she knew exactly, like she either had the plan or knew that something like it was happening, and she just felt this calm. And they noticed it. They just went, oh, that's the best we've seen her in years. And later that day, they found her in a national park. And apparently they told us, they just said, oh yeah, apparently that's one of the signs, is at the point where you feel like they're
But it's almost like relief. They've made a decision. They know what's happening.
Yeah.
And they're relieved to end it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're reading a lot about it and looking into it a lot more. You do tend to hear those sort of stories a lot more.
Yeah.
Of the people seemingly in such a good mood and so happy, and then next thing you know, they've ended their life.
Yeah.
When we got the call at 4 a.m, like I just thought it was an accident. I thought somehow it had been just a tragic event that, because he would have never have done it, right? That's what we thought.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember talking to his brother, Brad, and he's in the police force, and he said, oh yeah, it's very common. There's a thing called misadventure. And so I kind of lashed onto that and went, okay, definitely, yep, it's a misadventure, because he wouldn't have meant it, no way. And it was probably 24 hours to 48 hours before, we were the three of us were just trying to put all the pieces together, and we just couldn't work it out.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't until I actually saw that there was a note he'd left, that was the first time I actually went, okay, he's
right.
I guess it was from there that we went and thought about, spoke to a bloke, because once we went through everything, we processed everything, and because it was during COVID, when he died, we couldn't actually have a proper funeral. There was a very limited number of people that could attend.
Yes.
So we used to do this walk, which was from Spitbridge to Watson's Bay Hotel, and he was the one that sort of instigated it, started the whole walk.
You used to do the walk with him?
Yes.
Like that was an annual thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep. And each year you'd get one or two blokes extra, or a couple of blokes would drop off, and it would be a pretty fluid thing. But then because of that, we thought, oh, what a better way, after we could all get together again, we said, why don't we just get all these mates together, get all these bloke friends to come along, and then we'll do the walk. So started off where we had the walk, and we had, what was it, 100 people, roughly 100 people, give or take, on that first walk. And after that, the walk was just so cathartic. So we just felt, we got together at the pub one time, I think it was a Bucketies, and just sitting around and going, we need to do more. This was really good. And then we came up with Spoke to a Bloke.
Yeah, right. And it's so when was your first Spoke to a Bloke official event?
That would have been the walk.
Was that 22?
20, was it 22? I think it was, yeah, it was 21 I think we started.
Yeah.
It was the second walk, yeah.
The second walk, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And that was good. Second walk, it feels like an eternity ago now. How many? We had second walk, that was just a Sydney walk, was it? We didn't have the other places, or did we move on to the other places?
High side probably.
I think back, and like the very first walk was actually Nick calling us up saying, do you want to go for a walk from Spitbridge to Watson's Bay Hotel? I'm like, what? Yeah, okay, that sounds good, let's do it.
Good place to finish.
Yeah, 100%. And, and that's really, we did that a few years running, as Matt said. So it's nuts thinking back to that. And look, I remember, everything that walk itself, being able to talk, and Nick actually pointed out, he said, look, we'll just go for a walk and talk. And the fact that he came up with that.
Yeah, right.
And it just started to become an unstructured tradition.
Yep. And what a cool legacy now that you can, go for a walk and a talk.
Yeah, it's phenomenal to start off with, like 4 blokes, then we went to 6 or 8 blokes, and then we went to 100, then we went to 300, and then 900, 7 different locations, and
wow.
And now we're looking at having 20 locations in every capital city in Australia, and then 2 locations in England and 1 in Zurich. So
oh wow,
yeah, it's really
and is
really
it
grown.
and that's just grown organically through people who have done your Sydney one wanting to do one, like
Yeah, the first year was more organic through friends or mates of Nick that wanted to do it.
yep.
But this year we've actually put some effort into really focusing in on rural Australia, and just the response has been tremendous. We had like 60 odd.
65, people reach out, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's how I found you guys too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so the idea now with Spoke to a Bloke, are you guys running your own programs, or are you just doing fundraisers to then being able to fund other mental health projects?
We're definitely running our own programs, and just recently, I would say we wanted to really get to the nitty-gritty of what we're trying to do, because there's a lot of men's health charities out there. There's great walk groups. They're all doing really good work, right?
Yeah.
But we're like, well, what is it that we're trying to achieve in the simplest form? And in sitting around, we just realised that was to get men talking.
Yes.
And for us now, sort of, if you were going to say there was a North Star, it'd be, let's get men talking. And everything really supports that. So we've got a few projects that we're working on at the moment, one of which is called Minds, which is an acronym for Men in Need of Digital Support.
Okay.
And it's a really well created video series that's aimed at blokes, aimed at men, speaks in that language, and in a sort of effort to cover anything they may be going through. So that could range from anxiety right through to how to start your Monday better.
Yeah, right. And that's just a full digital program?
100% digital program.
Like done with groups, and is it Facebook groups, or is it?
It's interesting because we always thought there'd be a number of different people that will jump on video, share their thoughts from different backgrounds. So we've got some survivor stories. So people that survive suicide.
Yeah.
We've got psychologists, counsellors. We have strength and conditioning coaches.
Oh, cool. Cam Falloon. Get Cam Falloon. Donate some time.
What we didn't want, right? We didn't want a piece of digital content that just sat there that people had to go and read 100 pages of a manual to go, how do I get better health?
Yeah, right. And is this all accessible? I'm guessing now that you've explained it, it's an online, it's a website?
It's posted out through socials.
Yeah.
With a view to getting them onto the long form on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
But the reality is, if you think about it, I think there's something like 40 to 50% of blokes haven't spoken to anyone about their mental health.
Yeah.
And if one of these videos can talk to them and get them speaking to either a GP, their mate, coach,
they just need to speak to someone, right?
That's it. Yeah. It's always the first step, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not, I don't know whether we're not built to do that, or it's just
No, we need the conditions to be right. They say that men like to talk shoulder to shoulder doing an activity.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is, and that's sort of what we sort of stumbled across doing the walk as well, is that they're doing an activity, they're shoulder to shoulder, so it's non-confrontational.
Yeah.
You can sort of bring it up and drop it whenever you want.
Yeah.
And that's what guys
And it's
tend
not
to
like you're sitting down specifically to talk about a problem or an issue.
No, that's right. You don't.
It's just a byproduct of doing something.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And then during the walk, I guess we tell everyone at the beginning just to, if you want to talk. If you want to listen.
Yeah.
And that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, crazy. And so what's the distance of the walk? Do you have like a set sort of criteria?
25 Ks.
Okay.
So give plus or minus. So it's pretty hard to get a spot on 25 Ks.
Yeah, for sure.
But so far all the walks have been 25 Ks.
And is that because the spit bridge to Watson Bay Pub is 25? Yeah, wicked.
And we leave it to the kind of each location to find the route.
Yep.
Or the kind of structure that makes sense.
Yep.
So for example, Broome, it's like really, really hot.
Yes.
So they broke their course up into 4 lots of 6 Ks.
Oh, okay. Or run it at midnight.
Coming behind to pick up anyone that was struggling.
Yeah.
We need one of those in Sydney for sure.
You need an electrolyte sponsor for that one.
Yeah.
Holy dooly. Oh, this is a beautiful harbour, isn't it?
It is ridiculous.
I was actually admiring the harbour. I did a potty with Veronica from Chief Nutrition, and we did it at What's that place? Is it Clontarf?
Clontarf, yep.
Like there's the Hermitage Walk or something down there, but like where you can see you got the bridge and it's just stunning place. And then we ended up.
That's near where we started the walk.
Oh right.
Around there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Clontarf's there over there pretty much.
Yeah, right.
So
I remember having to go through.
You would have done the Spit to Manly Walk. So that's going around that headland, ending up, you go from Manly, you walk around there.
Oh yeah, because that's where the Biggest Loser house is up there somewhere, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the original Biggest Loser house.
Yeah.
I remember walking past that. We did that for Fred Hollows, but the Hermitage Walk, I think we just started at like Watson's Bay and then walked towards Clontarf or somewhere. But it's all like, it's a really nice track, all by the water and all like 20, 40, $60 million homes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not a bad part of the world.
No.
So Northern Beaches, whereabouts in the Northern Beaches do you reside?
All over the place. I'm at Warriewood.
Yeah,
Warriewood.
Moved up to Avalon.
Yep.
I'm at Fairlight.
So is this is the first year that you've opened it up to other areas?
Yeah,
The walk?
I opened it up to kind of the public to put their hand up to lead a location.
Yep.
And as Matty said, I think we've got 21 locations now confirmed, which is great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Taking it to another level. It's good.
And so is there a buy-in for the walk, or is it you encourage people to fundraise around the fact they're doing the walk, or how does the financial model work?
So ticketed pricing to register to do the walk.
Yep.
And that basically covers, you get a shirt, there's halfway snacks, food at the end.
Yep. And you want to raise money to do what you want to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, we have fundraising ability. People can create teams, register as, footy teams or corporate teams or whatever it may be,
Yep.
and raise funds that way as well as sponsorships and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I guess it all works around. The thing I'll be trying to help you guys out with is getting more people wanting to do their own walk, because that'll be a point of difference between you guys and every other charity out there that's doing walks, is that it's not just one big coordinated effort, that it's, you give the people the opportunity to do satellite events, which I think is smart, because you're not limited by how many people can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you ran the one from the Spit Bridge to Watson Bay Pub, like you might be able to cope with 5,000 people, and you'd still do pretty good at 5,000 people, but you're limited to how much you can do.
We're limited really by Watson's Bay Hotel's capacity to the rooms they have available at the time.
Yeah.
I think one of the big differences from this year's Walk for a Bloke to 25 will be we were really committed to making sure that funds raised went back into the local community.
Yeah.
And, and it's actually quite a difficult scenario to make sure that, whatever you do, the result of that walk, whilst it's there to raise awareness and funds overall for the charity to keep going and growing and making an impact, we wanted to do something locally. So what we'll be doing in 25 is delivering mental health first aid courses for anyone that wants to take it in the community on Spoke to a Bloke. And we'll be structuring that in a way that it's an hour and a half initial course, which we're hoping to put our mark on. And it'll all be about, what to look for and how to have the conversation.
Yeah, right.
And so, it's definitely a preventative measure.
Yep.
And, for us, if we've got more people in the community that know what to look for, the signs and how to have the conversation, which a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
I certainly did. Then that can only be a good thing,
Nice. So how many 21 events this next year? Is that what you said, 21?
Yeah, we've kind of diversified next year as well. So in addition to the 21 locations, we're also going to introduce a concept of walk anywhere.
Oh, okay, yeah, like a virtual.
Still on the same day.
Yep.
So 22nd of March, anywhere in the world.
Yep.
As long as you've got, the only condition is there's you and one other.
Okay, so you have to be able to talk.
Two of you want to go for a walk.
Hopefully you'll have a ton of people that do that just with a mate, because they didn't have time to coordinate their own walk, but you know, it starts getting people asking what they're doing, and you know, and then the following year they might have enough that they can actually do a proper walk.
That's right.
Maybe, you know, a bit nervous to kind of put their hand up day one and say, I'll do a walk in my location. But just if they can get the feel of it, see how it runs. It'd be good. I'm pretty excited about that one.
So what's your kind of goal across 21 events? Do you think you'll be able to, how many participants are you forecasting?
Every time we've tried to guess numbers, we've all fallen short or flattened our ass, but guys are so lazy, not lazy, they're just
last minute.
Everything's last minute. We could, like last year, I think we opened registrations around October. By December, January, we had I don't know, maybe 200 registrations. And in the last like 6 weeks, we got, 550 registrations in 6 weeks. So
crazy.
We would love it if guys registered early.
And can females do the walk?
No.
No, you're just restricted to blokes.
Doing it, we've got it for blokes at the moment.
That's cool. And
and we have gone back and forth on that one. We started as blokes because that was the traditional walk with Nick. You know, and then we thought about it and went, well, you know what, if a guy is struggling, it really takes a community, and that guy has got essentially a girlfriend, a wife.
Well, that's the only thing I was thinking of when you were talking about the mental first aid. I was like, females need to know about that as well.
Anyone can do the first aid courses. That'll be open to everyone. And
but you want to keep that one walk, that one day of the year is like an ode.
And it's really interesting. Like a lot of the females that we've spoken to, they're the ones that have said, you guys have got to keep this as blokes only because there's nothing like it, and it's just such a safe space. And
I know. I think
keep the walk unique.
The reality is too, man. Like if I went to an event like that where I didn't know anyone and I had my missus, I wouldn't really talk to anyone else.
No.
So it makes a lot of sense keeping it. And you know, if that's the one event that you do each year that's blokes only, and I think that's, you know, I think we lose a lot of that in society. And I used to run a females only event, and I used to have guys going, oh, you can't restrict it so guys can't do it, and I'm like, yes I can. I want to provide, especially it was an obstacle course event, so you had females coming out of ice baths and mud, and like they just felt like, even our volunteers and all that, we tried to err towards having just females, even though it was wrong, like I ran it, but we just had as many females as possible, because then they feel comfortable to do whatever without guys hanging around. And I don't think it's a bad thing to, you know, pick a side.
We just continually assess it. You know, we do a number of other community-based events. So we've done an 80s band night. We've done.
And they're the ones that you make co-ed.
We had a golf day. That was
we opened that up to everyone. Which is good.
But I think there's a good backstory to why you would keep that one guys only.
We are opening it up. We had a chat for this walk as well, where we're going to open it up to supporters to come at the end after we've finished the walk.
So have like a little after party.
So So we've got our pub or club or wherever it's going to end, but then we're also going to invite, if you want to bring your supporter, because a lot of people have either their daughters, their wives, their brothers or uncles, aunties, partners, whatever it is, they want that support to be shared and celebrated with someone. So this year we're going to open it up. So at the end, guys do the walk, and then at the end you can bring your supporter, whether it's male or female.
Because you can get your missus to drop you off at the start and pick you up at the pub at the end, right?
Perfect.
That's it. We've kind of capped off the regos now for new locations.
Oh, okay.
I think the big one would be the walk anywhere. That will be
But you still want people registering their interest for like doing it in their area, even if they miss out this year.
100%, if they would like to run an event, they can contact us, and then we can save their name, number and all that, and then talk to them next year when
2026 or whatever.
We actually had a few people that contacted us after the walk last year, and we managed to get them on board for this year.
Oh yeah, cool. So if anyone out here is interested in starting their own Spoke to a Bloke walk, I know that you've closed and you've got the 21 for next year, but is it still worth them reaching out to you guys just to express some interest for maybe the 2026 event?
Yeah, 100%. Just jump on the website. There's a form there. Fill that out, send it in, and our operations manager, Beck, it's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll get in touch and walk you through all the details. And the reality is, there's a chance we might be able to fit in another couple of walks, locations. But we're always interested in.
Just don't tell Beck that.
Putting the hand up and want to be part of it for sure.
Yeah, cool. And so the criteria for someone who goes, oh, I reckon this would be awesome to have at Byron Bay.
Yeah.
Like obviously having access to a network of guys is beneficial.
Well, it's interesting because we take care of all the marketing, the ops component. What we know to be true is the person, whoever's leading it, and normally a team works well, so 1, 2 or 3 of you as a team, have got to be really passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, cool.
And it's a long-term thing, right? So it's not, I'll run one this year and then I'll think about next year. Ideally,
you want to,
it's something it's a cause that's sort of pulling you in.
Yeah. So ultimately, someone who's been touched by a similar thing to you guys is the perfect person or know someone that,
Yeah. And, it's also not limited to men. We had a couple of girls or ladies who've organised. We've got one in Cairns, Zurich, and then we've got a girl that's helping one of partners over in Broome. So it's open to women as well.
Yeah, cool. And like you said, you just need to have a 25k course or thereabout. Yeah, that would be interesting. That people would go, oh yeah, that'd be a good walk.
Yeah.
Because no one, like if you're just doing laps of an oval for 25k's, that'd be a hard sell, I would imagine.
That's kind of what we're doing right now, but I'm scared.
Poppy. Yeah, and so that's the people wanting to get involved themselves. What about for people in and around Sydney that might want to do your walk? What date's that on?
So the walk is on 22nd of March next year. Yep. Which is a Saturday. We take off at around 7 a.m.
Yep. From the Spit?
From just, the other side of the Spit Bridge.
Go and do some lips of this thing, eh?
We'll open up registrations formally on I think it's the 10th of October.
Yep. And can people go somewhere to be put on your mailing list and be notified when it's available for sale? Like, is there on the website they can...
We're not that advanced yet.
Come on, guys, what are you doing?
We will stick it on socials and be plastered everywhere. So
Excellent. And so that's where we want to steer heaps of people towards, because I think I'm going to come and do that one. I'm going to try to get...
You're going to fill your pack, right?
Yeah, we'll do it with the pack. I was planning on doing the harbour hike with my pack on. And like I think I mentioned to you guys on our Zoom call, I like the rucksack because you can, especially because it's a bloke charity and blokes like to punish their mates, you could offer up that for every $1,000 you raise for Spoke to a Bloke, you could stick another weight in. So that for me, like, everybody's got charity fatigue. And I think that would be a really good way to get your mates to back you in your efforts to do this 25k walk, because they know that could be $100 or $1,000 or pick a number that you raise, you'll smack another brick into your pack. I'd be going bananas to try to make you carry as much weight as possible, just because if I can't be there with you, or even if I could be there with you, actually that'd be more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that the rucksacks are perfect for that. And then the vests are kind of cool just to train for the walk, so you can do your 25k's comfortably, because I know the first one I did, which was 36k's, but I wasn't carrying any weight except for probably 15 kilos more than what I've got now of fat. It was hard. And have you noticed that in past years? Like, do you have a lot of guys that just can't get through the 25?
Yeah, it's funny. We really have had all shapes and sizes. The youngest person we had was 12. The oldest was 76. We had a 7XL guy do the walk.
And he did it too.
He did. He knocked it over.
It was one of the most emotional things when he finished.
The start line, we were, it was terrible, but we were going, this guy's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And he did. He pushed it through, and it was quite emotional for him and his dad and his uncle at the end.
Awesome.
We've also got
some really fit guys, so I think there's a way to even out the playing field a bit.
Well, you could load the fit. You could, slow them down by sticking 15 kilos on their back. And but then from a training perspective also, oh sorry, I thought you were switching sides with me. We're dancing. There's heaps and heaps and heaps of research on training outside for mental health. So, you know, if you can, this is why I was thinking maybe at some point we do a co-branded vest for you guys, that people that register for the walk have the opportunity to get as part of their rego, and, you know, encourage them to prepare for it just so they have a better day. But all the time that they're spending out training, like out here, is just beneficial for your mental health too, right?
Yep.
100%. It'd be interesting on the walk to have a rucksack team, and anyone that really wanted to test themselves could sign up to that team, and
that could be any location.
Any location.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's sort of like, you know, their fitness is at a level where they'd like to sort of, you know, put a little bit of a challenge in place.
Yeah. Well, I know I did a podcast with an ex-NBL player called Damon Lowry the other day, and I know he's thinking, as he's listening to this, that he'll want to carry 25 kilos for 25 Ks, because that's just how he's wired. He's a bit of a fan of David Goggins. He comes from that kind of school of thought, which, you know, to each their own. I don't enjoy getting injured, so I like to take a little bit more passive approach, but he does some seriously hard stuff. And when I said to him, I'm like, I'll bring you down a ruck, he goes, yeah dude, can you bring me down a 45 kilo one? I'm like, no.
45 kilos.
45 kilos is not what we do. But you know, yeah, so getting outside's heaps of fun. However, we can help you guys throughout the process for next March, including being there. Like I said, we'll bring all the team members, as long as we don't have filming on that day with an event somewhere, because I know we are in WA in March. I'm just not sure. I think it's before the 22nd. I think it might be the 7th to the 14th or something. And yeah, I'll try to bring Steve down and the crew, and we'll have a bunch of fun. And I might even bring the trailer down for someone who just might want to have a crack at doing the 25 with some weight on their back. We'll just loan them one.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be good actually.
So I got a trailer full of ones that we use for our ruck club meetup. So that'd be kind of cool. And how do you guys feel the difference walking with a bit of weight on? Is this the first time you guys have rucked?
It is my first time, yeah. I can definitely feel it. I can definitely feel it, but it's not, what's the word? It's not an oppressive weight.
Nah.
It doesn't, like on my, well, I mean, we're not speed walking either, but I can still carry on a conversation, but I can definitely feel that I'm carrying something.
Yeah. And this is what I like about this as a training tool, even for blokes, like, because you guys would be the same. If I want to catch up with my friends for some physical activity, whether it's a run or a ruck or whatever, like I love the rucking in that I've got some really fit people in my circle. We're obviously having the show Search for Hurt. I've got some freaks. I can load them up with 15 kilos while I walk with 5, or you know what I mean? So you can go out and do a nice 10, 15, 20K hike where everybody gets the same kind of benefit, because you just adjust the weight to suit your fitness level. Where normally if I try to run with those guys, like I can barely keep up, but I'm not talking, I'm hating life. I get to the end and I'm like, oh, I've got to train more, fat ass. Or even mountain biking or anything like that. This way you can just load or deload based on how you're feeling on the day or who you're going with, and everybody will get kind of equal benefit from the activity, which I think is kind of cool. And like we said, you can, you know, we've been on a couple of podcasts where we've hit hills and it's all, but luckily there's AI programs that kind of edit all that shit out.
Nice little stairs over there we can go up if you wanted to.
Yeah, I know. I remember leaving that checkpoint there, and then it was
those stairs are horrible. They're long. They're long. They must be at least 800 meters long, and they're that awkward sort of step, like couple of steps platform, couple of steps platform.
You can't get into a flow.
No.
I remember I made the mistake of taking my shoes off here and then didn't want to put my shoes back on.
That's probably only what, 3Ks into the walk.
Yeah.
So guys, they're just like, bloody hell.
Sydney would be
22 to go.
Sydney's definitely the hardest walk. It's not hard per se, but it's probably got the most hills. Brisbane's flat, Adelaide's flat, Melbourne's flat.
Yeah.
Sydney's probably just got 3 hills. You go up Heartbreak Hill, which is part of the City to Surf, but because you're walking up it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and it's, you know, because you are only walking and you're talking with people, you just take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
No, that's wicked. And then so the other thing before we wrap, being mindful of time, challenge for a bloke. We had a really quick discussion on that when we were on Zoom, and that, to me, when you were telling me about it, I thought of Search for Hurt straight away. So tell me a little bit about challenge for a bloke.
So challenge for a bloke, look, anyone can do it. And the idea is do it your way. Have a challenge that fits in exactly with the type of challenge that you're looking for. So, you know, for some it's going to be, I don't know, running 25Ks. Others it's going to be, you know, it could be any sort of physical challenge. For some it could be like, you know, cheering up 20 kids with cancer.
Yeah, right. And same day as the walk, or is this totally separate?
So anytime. This is anytime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a do it your way challenge, and the idea there is to raise some funds, awareness, and
it gives you meaning to put behind something that you want to do, I guess.
Right, and it's you set your own. Like, it's not like, hey, this week's challenge is XYZ, and people.
No, we haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
that's something we're thinking about. But at the moment, it's just you name it, you claim it, when you want.
All right, we're back. Little SD card issue, of course. Someone forgot to format it.
In between, we did a few laps of the oval.
Some burpees.
Added a few more kgs in there. Yep, we're all good.
So where were we before we got rudely interrupted? Challenge for a bloke.
Yes.
Yeah, so, look, I mean, the one thing we wanted to add on challenge was, you know, it's to do it yourself, you know, your way. So it could be for individuals, for groups of friends, sports teams, you know, even teams in a company is perfect for. And it really comes down to how they, you know, the individual, the team, what they want to do.
Because you get that in corporate, right? People have that culture, they want to build an environment, they want to do stuff that's cool. Often it's going down to the pub on a Friday night. But this is like, do something different, challenge yourself.
Yeah, so it could be at lunchtime, right? And it could be, you know, we're going to do 100 Ks over, I don't know, 2 weeks, and we're going to do it at lunchtime.
Yeah, right.
And we're going to whack it on socials, raise some awareness and funds. You know, go from there as an idea. But
excellent. Yeah, it's kind of like, I was going to introduce you guys to Hardcore Harry's. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't.
They do, so it might be interesting to do something with them as a fundraiser and an awareness, and then that would lead into challenge for a bloke. So he does cash challenges. So he'll put up like $1,000. Like, he just finished one and it was Strava art. So he's like, $1,000 for the person who does the best Strava art. Have you seen? So they plan out a route to create a picture on their Strava. And like, so he does that. He's done push-up challenges. He's done 5K times. He's done heaps. And I got introduced to it through Lockie Danzy from our show, who's an absolute savage, and he loves that stuff and he loves money. So he every challenge that these guys put out there for cash, Danzy has a crack at it. But I thought they'd be cool to maybe do something with you guys as a challenge for a bloke, and where they use it as a charity driver, because I'm got a potty with Ethan next week who runs it. But
yeah, that'd be great, because the more fun you can have doing the challenge, the more you're going to enjoy it.
And I just thought that would be a cool, because obviously people who do his challenges would also probably like to set a challenge themselves, so like not one that Ethan sets for them. So if they've got, you know, a fastest known time or a Guinness World Record, or you know, these guys are all pretty brutal and want to be tested in that Goggins sort of style as well. They'd be people who would jump on that. And they're not everybody that you're aiming for, because, you know, even if it's someone who just wanted to walk 100 Ks in a week, that's a cool challenge for them. These guys would just come up with things that would be pretty brutal and pretty interesting to watch on social.
Yeah, it would be.
So I'll introduce you guys. So you guys are going to come and hang with us at the expo, and
yeah, we're going to talk to you about that. What the go is with the expo and how it all works.
Yeah, well, I just think it's about awareness, right? And so there's a couple of things that I think would be perfect for you guys to hang with Search for Hurt at the expo. Is that one, we can promote the walk that's coming up. And if we come up with an idea on how we do it weighted, that's probably going to hit my community a little harder, which would be kind of cool. But two, I definitely think if we work the challenge for a bloke angle, and maybe where we give you guys a couple of golden tickets towards Hurt Camp next year as the prize.
Yep.
I think you'll get a lot of people that'll come off doing our challenge, might not have won the golden ticket because we're only giving away 2 male, 2 females for our challenge with High Rocks at the expo. But it's a good second chance draw is them coming up with, and it doesn't have to be, because everyone's going to pick their own challenges, it's just going to be like a random draw. But to go into that second chance draw, they've got to actually do a challenge for a bloke.
Yeah.
And these guys will all, like, whether it's a burpee challenge or an erg challenge, or like, they'll come up with some pretty interesting stuff. But I just think for everybody that misses at the expo, if we give them a second chance draw to do a challenge for a bloke to go in the draw for, like, if we give you guys like 2 tickets, like 2 guys, 2 girls or something.
Yep.
Then that would be a good way to drive some awareness to that in a demographic that will do it. Like, these aren't people
when is the Hurt Camp? You say January, is it?
Yeah, so January, so it'll be mid-January is always Hurt Camp.
So what we would have to run our challenge campaign and have our 4 people nominated by
December.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's doable.
Yeah, like we'll announce who's got the tickets. Well, the people from Expo will know who's got it because it's the top two.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys if we use it as a driver to get as many people from October through to December, we'll even, like that October, November period to do a challenge, or we might even time bound it to say, you got 4 weeks to do as many challenges as you can. People might do 4 challenges and get 4 chances of, but I guess if it grows awareness for you guys, then it, also grows funds.
You know your audience well.
Mm-hmm.
If we, typically with the challenge, they sign up and they set a fundraising target. Do you think if we applied that, it would work? Or do you think people would just be like, oh, stuff that, I just want to get on the show and do a challenge and can't be...
Well, if that's part of the getting, like, if that's how they can get into the draw for a golden ticket, then these guys are overachievers in life. So if there's a challenge to raise at least $1,000 per challenge or whatever the number is, then they'll make sure that they do it because that's how they're wired.
You can also do like one every 2 weeks. Like every 2 weeks so then the same person can just keep applying.
Oh, yeah, because you got four tickets, you could do 2-week challenge. Next one.
In the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The best challenge that raises. One could be who raises the most funds in 2 weeks.
Well, it could just be to get the volume of people doing the challenges. I would just say you have to do a challenge, and then you'll go into the draw to win the ticket.
Yeah.
So if we've had 200 people across 3 days have a crack at the Search for Hurt challenge, and only 4 are getting tickets, ultimately then you've got the remainder of those people that might want to have another crack at it. And I think too, like, you've just got a very interesting charity that would would sit well with our demographic, and they are all about challenges. So if they can set challenges for themselves that raise money for what you guys are doing, I'm sure they'd be more than happy. And they're getting a chance to maybe get pulled out of the draw for the golden ticket is just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
For someone that goes on the show, what's the time commitment?
If they make it, it's usually a weekend per month. So they just need to be flexible enough in business life jobs that they can invest like a weekend per month.
For how many months?
Usually runs from, so Hurt Camp is a full weekend, probably a Friday. There's usually 1 week where you've got to take a week off, which is our WA trip. We usually try to spend a week over there, but all the rest is just weekends from January through to July.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad actually, because a lot of TV shows you've got to like take 6 to 8 weeks off work. You're not getting paid for it.
And you've got to sign NDAs and you can't post anything. Like we're not like that. So we're very different to most TV shows.
Yeah.
And most of these guys are weak. Like what our current guys loved is that they didn't have to pay for entries to do events that they probably would have done anyway.
Yeah.
Like I pay for their accommodation and their flights and their entries and all that, so they get to travel around to do stuff on weekends that they do when they're not on the TV show.
Yeah, okay.
So, and that's the market of who we work with. That's what they want to do. So, do you reckon there's weight in that thing? Maybe. All right, well, let's wrap it.
All right.
Yeah. So, I'll make an announcement if and when you guys are coming to the Fitness Expo.
Yep.
How much you got in there?
Usually 15, but I'm taking it easy today, man.
I need to get a rucksack.
When we go Chowder Bay.
All right, nice. Chowder Bay sounds interesting.
What's that?
So if anyone's watching, you guys might not be there for the whole expo, but we'll post up maybe a day. We'll do a Spoke for a Bloke day, so it doesn't work out to be a job for you. And I guess I'll put links to all the website stuff, and Challenge for a Bloke is something that I reckon our community is going to get right behind.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the walk, I think your walk as well in Sydney will be good. We'll get a big crew for that. And we'll talk about how we can implement rucking into that.
Ruck team, I think.
Is a good one. Yeah, and I can lead that out with Steve and people can join, because then that makes sense if we do Ruck Fit and we give them a Ruck Fit program.
I think so. I think that's great.
All right, thanks legends.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right, there's another Rucking Good episode in the books. Hopefully you liked it, and if you did, feel free to share it around and throw us a like and subscribe if you so wish to. If you would like to see or be a guest on Rucking Good, please drop me an email to team@rucksack.com. And until then, we'll catch you on another episode.